Thank you so much. Thank you for this year. And I kind of see International Women's Day as our holiday for She Sapiens. So for the ones that don't know me, my name is Simone or Nina Simone. I'm one of the 3 co-founders of She Sapiens, and this is my beautiful counterpart, Julia. She can present herself.
Yes, I'm Julia. For those that don't know me, do you want me to continue?
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm super grateful to see all your faces. And I was thinking today about what to share. And I think that for each one of us, this day represents a different thing. I don't know for you if you have stopped today to think about what it means to you, the International Women's Day. But for me, I think about all the women in my family, all the women that I've met, and all those that I didn't meet, all the women that were before us and that will be after us. And it makes me super emotional because I know that it's very recently that we became like more equal gender, and we still have some way to go, and we're still facing some challenges that are unique to us women. And I think that it's super important that we unite as sisters to support each other on that. And we've come so far in many things, in many ways, but there is one thing that still affects me, and I'm guessing it still affects you in some level or another, which is the not good enough. And always pursuing to be better at something, to look better, to, you know, just following the guidelines that society establishes for us that are not authentic to us. Because, you know, a few years ago, let's say 10 or 20 years ago, the thin eyebrows was in fashion. And now you see the thick eyebrows. And then before it was like the supermodels, very skinny. And now you have the Kardashians that are setting the standards, right? So we're never good enough. Things are always changing. And we're trying to fit in society to be liked, because this comes from a place of not liking ourselves from the bottom of our heart. And I hope that this, through She Sapiens, we are somehow empowering you to feel a little bit more whole and more enough, and to know that you are not alone. And thank you so much for coming. Yeah. Yeah. And I want to thank you for being like one of the co-founders. I couldn't do this without you. And there's one who's missing today, Yasmin. She is going through her own empowerment right now in India, and we support her to take this time for herself and hope to have her back soon because we miss her.
Exactly. So, wow, Julia, I'm so impressed. I didn't know she had prepared such a speech, and I think it came from her heart. So, you didn't prepare, right? No. So, yeah, I don't know what to add to that. I can add something more like generic, okay, about the International Women's Day, about this year's topic, which is actually inspire inclusion. So we need to create a society that is more inclusive. And this especially counts, I think, for Portugal. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Portugal has evolved as such a melting pot. We have so many immigrants, or I don't really like this word, but we have many, many different people coming from different cultures coming here together. And especially women that I meet that are so inspiring, because Lisbon especially has this energy for women to start all over. And this is why we created as well She Sapiens, because we saw that there is this energy of starting all over and creating something that comes from a place of purpose. So She Sapiens actually supports a view on entrepreneurship that is holistic and that comes from a place of purpose. And today, I would love presenting you 4 amazing women. You're all amazing women. But we chose today 4 amazing women that all came from a different place in this world, that all work in different industries, and that all have different stories. So what I wish for you today is that you go out here and you feel inspired, you feel not alone, and you feel good enough. So give a round of applause to our first guest today, which I knew since many years already. For some of you that don't know, I was working in the co-working industry like years back. I have another company that builds co-working spaces, and I met her there. Her name is Vika Surbers. She is the founder of the Ukrainian Co-working Association. She empowers women in tech. She's a mother. She wears many hats, and so happy that you're here. Round of applause for her.
Thank you. I'm supposed to say something now?
Yes, you are allowed to say something. So for everyone that doesn't know, so every woman has like a little bit of time to present herself and to leave a message here for the audience before we actually start with the panel.
So thank you so much, and thank you for having me here. It's nice to see how this community is growing, and I'm very grateful to be part of it. As said, I'm Vika Žurbas, and I wear a lot of hats, a lot of roles, and I think it's normal because each of us does it. I used to be very much focused on work. I wake up and I was checking my emails. I understood I don't like it. And last 3 months, I've been rethinking what I'm doing, which role I have, what I do. And I am a mother, I am a daughter, I am a sister, I'm a wife, then I'm a colleague. And I'm trying to train myself to put myself first and my family and then to work. I have a lot of projects and I wouldn't say about them now. We can dive into details or later in my Instagram and LinkedIn, you can take a look. But it's just a little part of my life now. And especially Portugal taught me to live this life, not to work through this life. And not to be so much focused on just working or professional things. And maybe last thing I want to make introduction and say that I started putting in my calendar on weekends just go for a walk, like take a big breath, eat, live this life, go to the ocean, etc. Not to forget these simple things. So that I want to wish all of us to live this life, to think about us first, and let's see what discussion in this evening unveils. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just noticed, I don't know where Julia is right now. I just noticed that like we have also a slide that shows your name. So for everybody that wants to look you up on LinkedIn, right? I think we forgot in the process. Anyway, thank you for coming all the way from Porto to Lisbon. Super happy that you're here. So let's welcome our next panel guest. I met her. I met her a long time ago, but she doesn't know because I was working in nonprofit organizations for the last couple of years. And I truly believe that if one thing is very important for us, it's giving back. So I was trying to give back always, and I was leading a nonprofit organization that tries to make this world a better place and that develops young leaders. And this lady, I followed her for a couple of years already. She doesn't know. And I was really, really inspired by the project that she created a few years ago called the Lisbon Project. And she can present it herself, but I'm super happy that you're here, Gabriela Faria. Please give her a round of applause, founder of the Lisbon Project.
Thank you. I didn't know, but that's good to know. Hello, everyone. It's good to see you. Good to be here today. It's my first time at an event with She Sapiens. So on a special day like this, it's good to see so many women from all over the world. So I was asked to just share a little bit here in the beginning before we get into the panel. And I thought on such a special day like today, what can I share? I mean, you all came because you wanted something, because you had some sort of desire to get something out of tonight. And so I hope that I can share something that will that you can take home. So I'm Gabriella. I have 2 kids. I'm married to a handsome man named Ruben. And a few years ago, in 2016, I had just graduated from the UK in university, and I came to Portugal just to enjoy the beautiful sun. I promised we have it. And I was here with my family, and I started meeting migrants and refugees. I started meeting people that were in my country that were struggling, and I noticed a pattern that not just difficulty in their integration, but they were faced with bureaucracy, but not faced with a community, not faced with a welcome where they were seen, valued, heard. And so this idea started to kind of ignite in my heart of what if I could mobilize a community? What if I could mobilize people to truly see others for who they are and not just for the color of their skin or as a statistic or just another migrant, another refugee? And so that's how everything started. And if I can encourage you with something is, as you are women in business or hoping to start a business, it's to know your why. People join you for why you do something, not what you do. And why I do the Lisbon Project is to find, and it's to build a sense of belonging for everyone that comes to this country. Our vision is that every migrant and refugee will feel at home here, whatever that looks like. And then I guess my second encouragement to you would be just start. According to the UNHCR, there's about 108 million displaced people in the world. 44.3 million of those are children. And so what could a 22-year-old at the time do to make any difference to these staggering and tragic numbers? And I'm a Christian, and there's a verse in the Bible that says, don't look down on the day of small beginnings. And so for me, it was in 2017, a day of small beginnings. Let's just start. Let's just start with, I don't know what this is going to look like yet, but I'm going to start. I'm going to help one person, one life at a time. And I believe that makes a difference. And so my encouragement would be just start. And lastly, to find your village. I'm a mom. I have 2 kids, 2 beautiful kids, JD and Sky. And I've realized that you really do need a village to raise children, but you also need a village to start a business. You need a village to build a project, to build an organization, to build a company. And so the Lisbon Project, 7 years later, we've supported thousands of migrants and refugees, but we've mobilized hundreds of volunteers, partners, donors, corporates, universities, and we've needed all of these people to make a difference in the life of the one at a time, because it really matters. What you do matters, no matter how small. So that would be my intro, my encouragement to you all tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, connected. But can I introduce the next lady? Would this be okay? All right. So I think that was a beautiful introduction actually for our next lady, because there are countries that exist that maybe have like their own identity problems, okay? I'm talking here in specific about Switzerland, because if maybe some of you know, Switzerland is very unique from its vision to the outside world, but also like Switzerland in itself, it's very unique because you have the Italian speaking part, you have the French speaking part, and then you have the German speaking part. And the next lady, she actually comes from Switzerland. She speaks my language, which is German. We never talk in German. I don't know why. But she came by coincidence to our She Sapiens community because she was collaborating with another lady that is part of the She Sapiens community. And collaboration is one of our biggest values. So this lady said, hey, can you help like my mentor, my role model, to host an event in Lisbon? Yeah, sure, why not? So that's how I met Claudia Spar, founder of the Holy Mama Retreats. She's also a consultant. She wears many hats. She can present herself. So happy that you're here, that you just flew to Lisbon. Incredible. Give her a round of applause for this. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. It's so exciting to be in a city and wear city clothes. So I'm kind of feeling like this is all like flashback to 20 years ago. So these beautiful ladies have actually built a perfect bridge to what I'm going to talk about. So I was born as an immigrant, a Swiss immigrant in the north of England, which is why I have this accent. And I actually just had a download as I was sitting there that my mother had no community and no village. She was 20 years old, moved to England with my father, who was doing a PhD in textile pharmaceuticals, as you do in Leeds. And she had me and couldn't even speak to the doctors. And I think she felt very isolated. I think she probably had postpartum depression, something we still haven't discussed. So fast forward, I had my children later in life. I was in my 40s. I have 3 beautiful children with a Spaniard in the south of Spain. I also had no community. And I had this brain fart to do retreats. It didn't come out of the blue because I was already in the yoga world. I have a background in corporate as well. I was working in television. So I should know how to use this mic. So I had a 10-year proper career in journalism, working for Swiss television, married a Spaniard, moved to India, set up a yoga resort on the beach. I did all the things they tell you you can't do. Then moved to Spain and felt very isolated. So the thread of the story is in 2013, pregnant with my 3rd child at the age of 45, when a lot of people would say, your life is over, your career is over, don't do anything. And when people say don't do it, I go, right, that is a really good challenge. And I'm sure all of you here are trailblazers. We have to be trailblazers. Because if we're not trailblazers, then the world is just going to stay stuck in these old patterns of keeping women in their place, which was a place that wasn't particularly attractive for our previous generations of the women who came before us and fought hard to make all this possible, so honoring the ancestors. So I had this idea in 2013 I was offered a house and it started very small. I said to my sister, I have an idea, I'm going to do a retreat for mothers. And she said, oh, that sounds really great, I'll tell my friends. And within the week, 5 of her expat friends, that's another theme here, immigrant, expat, same but different, and they all booked their flights to Ibiza, and that was the first ever Holy Mama retreat. 11 years later, 77 retreats I think we've done, trained leaders in over 20 countries, and it's just, somebody has to go first, and usually it's you. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, truly inspiring. I'm not a mother yet, but who knows? Maybe one day we can have the same chat again, but with another level of, understanding. So let me welcome our last panelist for today. And by the way, I was also working in television. I have no clue how to hold this mic because there are 2 types of mics. One you hold like this and one you hold like this. I think this is like this. See? Anyway. So the last panelist that I would like to welcome you today, I just met very recently and I was so amazed by her energy and positive spirit with the lightness she goes through all the obstacles, with all the projects she has been doing. Like, she is really a true manifesto generator. And I would love to welcome here on our little stage, Carolina Rodriguez. Please come up.
Thank you, and good night, everyone. I am very nervous because this is probably the first time I do something like this, so sorry about that. First of all, I want to thank you all for all your introductions. They were amazing, and you've done amazing things. So now myself, I'm Carolina Rodriguez. I am Colombian. I'm a passionate entrepreneur, as you just said, but I'm also a world traveler. Looking and hearing at all what you've said, and being here in Lisbon, I've moved everywhere. I've lived in 7 different countries. I'm still very Colombian in myself, but I've lived everywhere. And every time you move somewhere new, you have to start from scratch. And in my case, I'm Latina, and when you move and you go to France and you go to Australia and you go to the US and you go to Canada and you come here, there's some prejudices and many things that you think that won't allow you to reach where you want to reach or be where you want to be because you're Latina and you're a woman and you've done, they maybe, I don't know, I studied business, but they don't know my business school back home. So maybe your diploma doesn't even exist. So when you move somewhere else, you just have to start from scratch and you don't have your friends that would you grew up with or you don't have your community to support and it's always hard to start back again and you always ask yourself am I going to be able to? Am I going to have the power to actually do what I want to do? My dream can actually come true because I'm just in this new place with new people. I don't know anyone. I don't even speak the language. How do I do? But I think my message is for us women, if we do create a community, sometimes, and it's sometimes uncomfortable, to be honest, you come here and you're like, okay, who do I talk to? What do I talk to people about? But my message, when Nina says that I've started different businesses in different parts of the world, because every time I move, I just start a new business in a way. And my message is take the risk. And as you said, get started, put yourself out there, give it a try. Talk to someone of something super random and then things flow, you go with the flow and then you find and you start moving and overcoming all the obstacles that come in your way. So I guess that's my little introduction and
Amazing. Thank you so much. We didn't hear that you're nervous. That's just in your head. So, ladies, now I have 4 wonderful ladies here. I have some questions, but also I would like to give the microphone to you, ladies, to ask some questions because I think that we have such a diverse panel here that every single woman here has a point to connect to you, to some of you. So I heard this word community a couple of times, and for some of you, I already mentioned it. Vika, you are the founder of the Ukrainian Co-working Association, and for the ones that know a little bit about co-working, and by the way, we are in a beautiful co-working space called Hedon. Community matters. Community matters in co-working, community matters in family, community matters everywhere. And I would love to hear from you, Vika, where you see that community plays a role in your life and where you implement community in your female leadership.
Thank you for this question. I would be speaking from my heart because when you started asking me this, I was thinking about when did the community thing played the most important things in my life. Actually, there is a Ukrainian tech community, and back 2 years ago when the war started in Ukraine, I was in Kiev, and the community chats, there was chaos, no information, everybody were waiting for some television information, but all the information was in community chats. We have this VTech community, and the leader told us, "Good morning, girls." It's 1,000 people. The war has started. Let's be okay. Just wait for some instructions. It will be fine. And this woman is very influential. She has a politician, a husband, so she could ignore us and make her own things with her own 3 children, actually, when the war started. But she wrote it. And I wanted to say that at these very hard situations in my life, that was always community or some Telegram or WhatsApp chat who gave, I don't know, sorry, now I'm emotional, who gave some words and support and instruction and etc. And I can also proceed talking about community in Portugal, but now I'm too emotional, so we'll go to the next question. But this one was a community really helped me and my family just by words, just by being there for me.
Thank you. Gabriela, you're also building community, and I can assume that you're building community in a not so known way for Portuguese people. I don't want to have stereotypes or any kind of judgment, but I assume that Portugal opened like to foreigners not so long ago, I would say, at least like in terms of when it comes to creating businesses and getting advantages with NHR and so on. Then Portugal had like waves of immigrants coming. So I would like to know how you navigated and why did you took the decision to actually create the Lisbon project, building a community that mainly contains immigrants, when maybe Portuguese people think or are of the opinion that we should take care of their own people first and not about everybody else. So I would like to understand a little bit better your thoughts that you had back then and why you saw this urgency about creating the Lisbon project.
I think something that is very important as people, whether you're a woman or a man, is to have genuine curiosity for people. A genuine curiosity, whether you're Latina, whether you're Asian, wherever you're from, to genuinely ask questions. People always say, my friends, my husband say, I ask a lot of questions, and it's true. Because there's a curiosity of who are you, where are you from, what's your background. And as I started to do that in 2016, that's when immigration in Portugal really started to rise, and little did we know that we would be where we are today in 2024 with so much immigration to Lisbon. But I started asking questions, and I started to realize the brokenness in some people's paths. The lack of choice in some people's reason for being here, people who had been marginalized, people who went through extreme trauma, people who maybe had been persecuted for their religious beliefs or persecuted for all kinds of reasons, maybe even people who didn't have the label of refugee but had fled from extreme poverty, people who had dreams for their children and just, they didn't know anything about Portugal. Maybe they knew about Ronaldo and that's it. But maybe Portugal is going to be the place where my kids can have a future. Maybe Portugal is going to be the place where they can have an education and become someone that they want to become without the constraints of our local society. And so through this curiosity of hearing from people, but genuinely listening from people, then we build community. Then we can understand who we are as a collective. Then we can understand, how does this person coming here, how can I learn from them and be inspired from them? And how can they learn from me? And how can we exchange who we are, our gifts, our talents, our journeys, our paths, our lives, our children, our families? And that's how we start building community. So at the Lisbon Project, it is a place of listening. It's a place of genuine relationship. I always tell all of our staff, all of our volunteers, every week we mobilize about 145 people. And I always say, we're not about transactional exchanges here. We're about relationship, genuine relationship. That's how we build community. So whether you're a teacher teaching Portuguese in a classroom, whether you're a lawyer giving legal support, whether you're somebody teaching someone about LinkedIn and how to do a CV, it's not a transaction. It's a relationship, because even as you empower someone, they inspire you and they teach you. And so I think that's how we can build community.
Wow. I agree very much with that, and I have encountered some of your employees. I don't like this term, but I have encountered some of your employees, and I can really confirm that. Like every single one of them, like showed me a uniqueness of trying to build a relationship with me. So great job. I think that I really like this term of creating a place of future. But what means future? I mean, when we are single women in our 20s, maybe, we only think about ourselves, about our own future. And being a woman means that eventually, not all of us, but some of us will create a future in the sense of creating the next generation. We have children. And this, I might dare to say, can change everything. And I know that in the life of Claudia, having children, creating a place of future and creating next generation, this has changed everything. And I would like to hear from you how this has changed you as a woman, your approach that you have in business when it comes to leadership, when it comes to different soft skills. And I know you have a lot to say about this topic, so.
Wow, love the question. So, also, I can answer it from just my work with hundreds of, well, probably thousands of mothers and women who become mothers. It's one of the biggest transformations that can happen in your life because everything turns upside down. And a lot of women who have worked in corporate actually leave corporate when they become mothers because they can't do the hours, they don't want to do the hours. So motherhood does change things, and there are many ways it changes you. One is, for sure, you have a direct thread to the future. So some suddenly stop surfing. My sister, for example, she decided, well, she still does little waves, but it can make you more aware of the pain in life. Watching the news can suddenly, like Ukraine, it affects you on a deeper level when you're connected to life itself. I think for me, what changed, and this is something that there is scientific evidence. We know that when we are pregnant, we take on the DNA of our child. So each child brought through a different essence in me. So I have 3 children. I was pregnant, I think, 8 times in total. I had a few miscarriages, which is a taboo that should not be a taboo. So this happens. And with each of my 3 children, and very close to the birth, the energy of each child became even stronger because this is a human being you're carrying inside you. So each child changed me in different ways. And looking at them now that they're bigger, one is already bigger than me, much bigger than me, in fact, I can see how their personalities are developing and how I'm carrying that and they're carrying me. It's like it's magical. So I wouldn't say because you've got time. I mean, I started, I believe women need to feel spacious about whether they have children or not. And I'm definitely feeling that this is an area of life that nobody can make any decisions for you because it is the biggest transformation in your life, for sure.
Thank you. I think Vika wants to comment on that, so feel free to comment.
Sorry, I cannot be silent. I wanted to say I also have 3 kids, and I remember when I met my husband, I was in another relationship, and I told the guy I was breaking up that I'm breaking up because I can smell my kid, my next kid. I was not pregnant. I just met my husband, and I said I'm breaking up with you because I can feel my future kids. And when you say that you can feel them, this energy, I felt it even before I got pregnant, which was amazing. And I don't know how appropriate it is for you, but I've never shared it with anybody. And we don't talk about it like the taboos of miscarriage or the energies, but it's something was very strong. And of course, I could be comfortable living with my ex and not feeling myself and not going with this energy and with this flow. But I'm just very happy I went, and yes, it's a lot of energy even before they appear. They choose us.
Wow, that's
Thank you.
beautiful, and yeah, I have a lot of thoughts right now in my head.
We can talk later.
We can talk later about that. Um, you know, I think this. I think you said that you feel interconnected to your children and to your with yourself, and I truly believe that you can feel in that way to a place, to a culture. And it happened to me a couple of times that I always, when I moved country, I discovered myself again and I became someone else. I became a new version of myself and I became a new Simon, Nina, you know, you know the story. So, and I really think that for you, Carolina, like this might apply as well. And even more interesting that you have this courage to not only reinvent yourself, no, you're also reinventing your business. So I would love to ask you, like, how does that feel? Like, how does that happen? How does this has happened to you in your past with your moves, with all these cultures and new places you lived in? And do you have any lesson learned out of several moves and several started, failed, or even successful businesses?
Okay, so definitely, as you say, when you move, I think that's the beauty about moving sometimes. Also, although it's very nice to be settled, but the beauty of moving is being able to reinvent yourself. I've in my personality, I'm a very creative person and also curious, but mostly I see a business on everything. So if you tell me like, let's do chairs, I'll be like, let's do chairs. Or let's do shoes, let's do shoes. So I honestly see a business everywhere. I think everything has already been invented in reality. It's just you can make it in a way better or different or innovate a little bit or twist and turk a little bit of things, and then you just have a completely different thing. So, for example, my first business was and each business and each as each move brings a challenge and brings brings some teaches you something. So my first business that I started was a juice bar. That was 10 years ago when cold press juices were not and green juices were not everywhere around. And it was a beautiful business, but after 2 years, it was working pretty well and everything. After 2 years, I realized that I was not longer learning anything else in this business. But it was tough for me because I had in my mind the idea that, you know, you do a business and you stick to it. So I was like, who do I tell that I'm not anymore? I don't like this business anymore. Like, I'm not interested. I'm not learning anything on it. And I realized that you can, like, there's cycles and like you can get bored and maybe for you it's not longer there. You're not longer learning anything from that business, so you can go and maybe sell it, do something else with it. And for someone else, it's going to be interesting and there's going to be things that they'll be learning, but not longer for you, so you can move on. It's okay to move on. So you learn these when you start your businesses, because sometimes we're like very like, no, but I cannot give up. I should continue. Maybe I need to look for something new and like do on the same business. Then I jumped to an activewear brand, completely different industry, because I loved fashion, and I partnered up with my best friend. So we were very similar in many things, and we always thought like we would be the best partners, business partners, because we also were best friends. So, and we liked the same things, we did the same things, so it was easy. And then I realized that when it come to work, it was very, very hard to choose your partner, because she had a different rhythm that I had when it comes to work. She had a different urge to do things that I had. So she wanted to take things easy. I wanted to be quick. So then you start learning that choosing this partner, even though it could be your best friend, might not be the perfect fit to make your business. Then I moved on. So I sold my part. And it's also like selling a bit of your, I don't have no kids, not yet. But every business has felt like a kid in a way. And so then I moved to this healthy food distributor, wholesale, and we were thinking that it was a B2C business. So we wanted to sell healthy food products to people and bring them to their houses and everything. And after a while, after 2 years of the business, we realized that the customers were not really liking it, and that the real business was selling to other consumers. So you had to pivot and had to change everything, your communication, how you were telling people where to find the channels, everything. You had to change everything. So many of us would think like, we cannot do it. But then we thought like, what if? Let's give it a try. So you just jump into a new journey and you learn to pivot and you learn to change. And that was amazing. And so I think that from every business, and then my mini hidden passion had always been fashion. Well, no, I also had another business in Australia, which was a vegan popsicle business, which totally failed because of COVID, because I had not realized the importance of cultural differences when it comes to logistics. So for me, many things were like, oh no, I'll do them like I do them in Colombia or how they do them in the US, because there's deliveries everywhere. And the reality was that Australians' mindset were so different that logistics just didn't work the same way that it should be. So plus COVID, so nothing really worked. But I learned also that it was good to fail. Like, and with my husband, we laugh a lot because I say like that's my hashtag failed. But it's a very nice hashtag fail. We have a lot of very nice pictures of how we had all these popsicles everywhere. All our fridge was full of popsicles, but it was just fun. Nowadays, we don't eat any popsicles. Like
I just have to quick interrupt you because like one thing I noticed about you and that I truly love about you is that how you talk with such a joy about your failures, about your challenges, and I think one very important word here is pivoting, and we can pivot in professional and in personal lives. So my second round of questions to you ladies would be actually starting with Vika. Vika, please share with us like one of your biggest challenges that you faced, can be personal, can be professional, can be interconnected, and how did you overcome it?
But did I fail or I win?
A challenge is a challenge. A challenge doesn't mean that you fail, right? It can be a challenge. So
Let me speak not about war now, because somehow all my thoughts about this challenge also. But the Co-working Association, one of the projects I do, it's Ukrainian Co-working Association, I would say it was one of the biggest challenges I had. And it was truly my idea almost 5 years ago. I was 5 years younger. I thought, and I was like, people in co-working industry in Ukraine, it's were real estate guys, 40, 45. They were looking at me like, what is she going to do? She's like 30, young girl. She wants to found Ukrainian Co-working Association. They didn't take me serious at all. And it was my challenge because I have a lot of ideas, but maybe like they say a lot of ideas and startups fail, yes, but also I don't give birth to my ideas. I don't like support them to be real. And this idea I took so much. I was believing in it, believing in me, little by little steps. The logo of Ukrainian Association, I just drew it, sent it to designer and told her, do this. So I did everything. I did the website, I did the mission, vision. I was alone, I was doing everything. And the energy was motivating me, not always good vibes, but like to prove them I will do it, that I can do it. And I was doing and starting with little events, little something, which not always was very good. But now, and I encourage you later to go to our website to take a look, I would say that it's a very nice product. If we were a startup, but we're an NGO, if we were a startup, like somebody would buy us because it looks amazing, it has amazing inside, it has focus, it has supervisory board, it has members who are paying to be part of us, and it was just me believing in me. You know, there is like some meme, like the girl already taking an Oscar or something, and she says, I want to thank myself. So I want to thank myself. I believed in me, and I was really, really alone. And it's not like somebody were not, they were against me. They were not taking me seriously at all, because real estate, as I told, it's a male industry. So this was a big challenge. And I still, last thing, sometimes I want to do something and I feel unsure, will it work or not? I remember this win, and it gives me strength that everything I want to do will happen.
Oh, thank you for that. That's yeah.
Thank you.
I know that you overcome many challenges, and I feel very, very much aligned because I remember I'm living in Portugal for 7 years, and the first 5 years, all of my friends were asking, "So when are you coming back?" And nowadays, like being 5 years of an entrepreneur and being with She Sapiens as my second startup or company, people are asking, "So how is your little project going?" Oh, it's going well. We are in 6 countries, thank you. So yeah, it's so true. Like, but someone has to start, right? And it's very difficult because oftentimes the people that are the closest to us are our biggest critic and not really our supporters. Even better that we can create community and we can find supporters. And you mentioned that you were an NGO. So I assume, Gabriela, that being a non-profit organization in Portugal is very challenging, especially when it comes to getting funds, getting funded for the amazing activities that you run. And the question here is, of course, is there a biggest challenge that you faced? But also, I would love to hear more from the finance/impact side, because I know that this is a very big challenge in a lot of nonprofit organizations.
Thank you. Yeah. So I'd say one of my biggest challenges as a founder of LP was actually believing in myself. And I think all women, we have this thing of comparison. And especially when we compare ourselves to people who maybe have already started something or already a little bit further down the line. And we can come up with a list of 20 reasons of why we're not the best one for the job. And so I know that when I started the Lisbon Project at the time, I could see the problem. I could see these people were isolated, they were marginalized, they were sidelined, they were silenced in Portugal. And I could see what we needed to do. And we just need to mobilize people, universities, corporates, get civil society to see them. And there was such a problem and a solution, but then there was me. And I could come up with a list of 20 things. You know, I'd been living abroad, and so my Portuguese isn't what it should be. I remember one of my first meetings was with the High Commissioner for Migration, and I was so beyond nervous going into the meeting. He made fun of my Portuguese a little bit, which just made me feel even more nervous and worse. And so there were so many reasons, and one day it just clicked in my mind. I'm gonna bring my full self to the table. This is who I am. Like, I'm the person for the job. I'm gonna assume that, I'm gonna embrace that, and this is me. This is me with my broken Portuguese. This is me with being young. Okay, I'm 22, I'm out of university. Maybe somebody older could have done it with more experience, but you got me. And so I just embraced who I was and went more boldly into rooms and went more confidently into rooms. And at the Lisbon Project, we really believe and we really are inspired by Nelson Mandela's words that it only seems impossible until it's done. And so we go for it. It only seems impossible until it's done. When it comes to funding, we didn't have funding. Where are we going to get funding to build this community, to have a place, to have a center, to teach Portuguese classes, to hire teachers, to mobilize all kinds of people in different sectors, to integrate people into different areas of life in Portugal? How would we find the funds? I'm a big advocate of private funding. I stay away from public funding exactly because of the bureaucracy that I feel that it brings when in a nonprofit. I really believe in listening to people, responding to people. We're a grassroots organization where we're close to the community and we want to respond to the community in an agile, flexible, quick way. And so I think many times with public funding, we're not able to do that in the same way. And so private funding is Lisbon Project. We have been able in the past 7 years to do everything that we're doing. 41% of the donors to Lisbon Project are private individuals, are people who just believe in what we're doing. After that, it's corporates, companies who believe in what we're doing as well. And so my job is just to say, I can't do it alone. My job is to inspire people with why. My job is to meet individuals and say, hey, your €100 a month, it matters. It makes a difference. And little by little, your little becomes a lot. And it really matters in people's lives. And so it's been a huge challenge. And the more the organization grows, the heavier the burden I feel on my shoulders as we have more staff and we have more people. Now we have an average of 150 people signing up to be a part of the Lisbon Project every day, from Bangladesh, from Pakistan, from Afghanistan, from Colombia, from Venezuela, from Brazil, from Sudan, Somalia, from all over the world. And my job is to fund that change. But I really believe in it, and it only seems impossible until it's done, so I keep going.
Impressive. Thank you so much. So I know, Claudia, that you actually have that you deal with challenges, and you deal with challenges in a way that you try to help others to overcome their challenge. I know that you do this when it comes to communication and sales, and I also know that you do this when it comes to motherhood. And then probably running retreat businesses is a big challenge, because I can't imagine that you organize a retreat all on your own. I can't imagine that. So what are your biggest challenges and how do you overcome them?
Well, you know, I'm just going to reverse engineer this quickly and go, the challenges are here to test you and to remind you of your power. A bit like what Gabriela said. You know, she was so nervous. And often as women, when we are put in front of these kind of figures, I call it old system. I left television because I was kicked out because I didn't fit. So I never had funding. So I listened to this and I think this makes a lot of sense. Private funding, relationships. Good business is always built on relationships. So I think the challenges for me have been that I've had to do it alone. But that is also my gift. So a bit like shadow work, you know, there's the opposite of what you think is hard is actually your superpower. So I am a trailblazer, I am a pioneer, and the women I attract are trailblazers and pioneers. And they come to me, and people from the outside will go, wow, look what she's doing. And then they come to me and they go, oh, but I've got all these doubts and I've got this. And I just remind them of their power. So this is why I'm really passionate about mentorship, because for me, it's very easy to hold up a mirror. I see a woman in her highest timeline. I see her fully expressed, doing what she's been born to do. So the challenges are really here to initiate us into a more embodied version of ourselves. It's about embodiment, because you can learn through books. You can try and learn through books. I mean, books are great. I love books. I write books. Nothing wrong with books. But learning by doing and trying and failing and trying it differently and trusting yourself is the best way.
Thank you so much for this. I would like to add one thing to that. I would say adaptability, so to adapt to something, to a new situation, is also very important. And I know that Carolina has talked about some of the challenges that she has faced, but now I would like to ask you, Carolina, like, what would you recommend everybody else that faces challenges in order to adapt? And I know that you have created one business in particular that has implemented exactly this recipe of adapting to new situations. So please tell us more.
Okay, so I think that, well, in my life, or how I recently, for the past years, I've decided to manage my life, is try to be as present as possible. I had a little wake-up call 6 years ago that one of my brothers passed away in an accident, and there's where you think like, life does really ends out of something, not expecting it, and that makes you realize that you want to live today, and that everything has a solution. So all of the challenges, for as hard as they seem, like everything will have a solution. The only real thing that we don't have a solution for is death. So if you start seeing things like on the other side, like there's a problem, yes, but there's a solution for it. We might not know it, but there is a solution. If there's no solution, then it wouldn't be like we wouldn't be alive, right? So I think taking challenges, like seeing them from the perspective that you'll solve them. And many times, I don't know if it happens to you, but you start your day and you say like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? How am I going to deliver this? I can't do it. And at the end of the day, you have delivered what you needed to deliver and you made it. So it had a solution. It's just like thinking of it as only a problem and just focusing on the problem instead of thinking like, okay, there might be many solutions. And on these, the last and my current baby, I would say, it's Camia shoes. And I was getting married. I needed a lot of shoes for different occasions, and they couldn't fit all in my bag. And I was thinking if I had one pair of shoes, I could change the straps on top. It would be perfect because it would adapt to all of the situations, to all of the occasions and everything. And that's how I created Camia shoes, and it's one base. And you can change all of the straps. So if you travel, you take one pair of shoes and all of the straps, and you have many different. So it's adapting to different solutions. And I also, to wrap up, I compare with my business partner, we compare the shoes to women. We're all the same base. So we have 3 different bases, but we're all the same base, but we just style ourselves differently. It doesn't matter. We come in different colors, in different sizes, which is our base. And we just like and adapt. Yeah, we style ourselves with different things, with different outfits, different jewelry, different, and we also adapt to different situations. So sometimes we're in office wear, sometimes we're partying, sometimes we're more casual. So we just like to adapt and change, and this is precisely what these shoes allow you to do. You just adapt and change depending on the situation, depending on your mood, depending on the moment of your life you're in. And I think that's what actually makes you overcome challenges, accepting that things change, but that you will change with them. And it's fine, it's perfectly fine. We all change. And it would be a bit weird to think that I'm the same person I was a year ago. No, I'm not. I've changed, I've grown, I've learned, I've failed, I've cried, I've everything. But it's accepting change, what I think that makes a difference when it comes to dealing with challenges.
Beautiful. And if you wish that she takes off her shoes later, she can. Exactly. All right. I think that is super beautiful because you all seem to care about collaboration, about well-being, and about sustainability. And these are really the values that She Sapiens incorporates. We all trying to build community for ourselves and for others, and to empower each other. So definitely, every single one of you has a specific superpower. Okay, but before this gets too boring, I would love to give the opportunity to the audience to actually ask you some questions, if there are. So, ladies that are here in the room, do you have some questions? And this can come from a personal place, from a professional place.
Okay, I'm gonna be a pioneer here. I know, I knew that it's gonna happen. I'm always the first one to ask all the questions. I mean, because the topics was incredible, so I was thinking in my head for too long. Now I need to express all those. Oh wait, oh okay, oh now still hear me, okay, that's perfect. So my name is Lika, and I wanted to ask you folks, like in perspective of challenges. Vika mentioned that when you see yourself today and when you remember all the challenges that you went through, so it's kind of, Gabriela also mentioned it, that it's kind of seems impossible until it's done. But do you have any suggestions or life hacks? So kind of what's the life hacks for the situations that you are now going through? And it still seems impossible because like I found myself in a situation, so I kind of also entrepreneurship with a startup mindset. So I have a fashion brand. And sometimes I think how you find a difference, it's whether you should you should stop doing what feels like it's probably wouldn't work out, or you need to keep doing it. But from the other hand, like it probably seems unlogical and stupid to continue doing something that doesn't give you results. So where is this balance? Have you found this balance for yourself?
I have a very good answer. Last year, I had like peak of my imposter syndrome, not believing I can do anything in this life. And again, like I have kids, so I could do it. I have several projects, I could do it. So I sit myself, and like the most important and tough talks are with yourself. So I have 7 notebooks now where I'm writing a lot of things, but we can talk about it later. And one of them is like I wrote to myself, like, okay, Vika, let's see what you have done and what is okay, is working, and it's great. And I don't remember how many it was, but 20, 30, I don't know. I just was writing until I had a click that I am sure everything I will start, I will win, and it will be like prosperous and thriving. I just did it for myself. And now I still want to do a lot of things in this life, but I'm choosing where I would like to win. It's like a cafeteria. I'm just choosing which cake I want, and now each of them will be great. I just
Cool.
self-programmed myself.
I have honestly, I have never thought about it, so that you can actually choose where you're going to win, and something just let it go.
But
Yeah.
also you said it's like, I'm sorry, it's like a gut feeling. Like I don't think I do a lot of unlogical things, a lot. But if I believe I have to do it, I'm just trying to listen to myself. Thank you.
Thanks.
I would just, I think it's so important to surround yourself with people, with counselors, with mentors, with people from different industries. As we're an NGO, but it's been so important to surround myself with people from tech, with people from the corporate background, with people from a religious background, just surrounding myself with different people that can pour wisdom into the situation, into your path, into your challenges, people that have faced the same challenges and can give you very practical advice of, hey, this is what I did, why don't you try it? Or even people who can just pull out the wisdom from you by asking you questions and making you think in a way that you didn't. I think accountability is one of the values at the Lisbon Project, because it reveals the gap between where you think you are and where you actually are. And so by having accountability to other people, they speak life, they speak wisdom into your path. And sometimes you'll have 10 people telling you, stop, like, please stop, don't be knocking on that wall. And it's so important to listen and to have the humility to listen and to ask for help and wisdom.
Wow. It's such a good question, because it's, as an entrepreneur, you need resilience, you need tenacity. You can't just give up easily. But then there's this point where you get so much evidence that something's not working, where you have to go, okay, I've got to let this go now, or I've got to do it differently. So yeah, mentorship is definitely something that really supports. I always believe that we know best ourselves, so we know it through different, we all have different ways to access our inner authority, as the language of human design. But also, sometimes it's very hard to let go of something that has been working. And we're stuck in our old identity when it was working, when actually we need to step into the next version of ourselves and of our business, which is asking us to expand and asking us to let go. So it's finding that sweet spot. And where that sweet spot usually sits is in the void. And a lot of business owners spend time in the void when nothing's working. And what's so scary is that usually when there's no energy, there's no money, because money follows energy. So you have to, this is like the testing time of sitting in the void, believing in the future evidence before it appears. So this is where women actually are the best entrepreneurs, because we have that gift as mothers and as women, just as women, to be able to believe in the mystery, so that the unknown before it appears.
Yeah, I'm adding to all of these because this is just perfect. I would say, well, if it's truly a project that you feel that you want to pursue, I would say 3 small hacks. The first one would be like cut your elephant into different pieces. Sometimes the results you're waiting are too soon, like you are expecting huge results, and maybe you have to learn to cut the elephant into pieces first. Second, enjoy the process. Like stop, like if it's something that you truly believe and that you think it will work, enjoy getting somewhere, because also what happens is that then you get to the goal or thing that you were thinking, and then you have a bigger goal, so you will always start struggling, thinking, no, I need to work more. So enjoy the process, enjoy every day, cut your elephant into pieces, and enjoy this meeting that I'm going to have with someone, these, and also take a double, like zoom in on the results. Are you expecting too high for the point you're at? Because maybe not setting like reasonable goals also like plays but like against you. So try to really think again, like, okay, yes, this is my biggest dream, I want to become, I don't know, but I'm going to cut this into little small steps every day to go one by one. And adding to what you say, maybe look for someone that has done something similar to what you've done. Maybe if you don't know her or him, I don't know, but seeing someone that did it makes you realize, like, okay, I could also do it, you know? Maybe you have a friend that inspires you because she has also done her business and she's doing super good, and you can say, like, okay, if she did it, I could do it too. So like take her as an inspiration of, if someone else can do it, I could also do it. So those 3 hacks: cut your thing, review your result, your result, and look for inspiration and enjoy the process. It's the most important thing.
Thank you.
Struggles, because like otherwise you see only, like as I have mentioned, like successful success, and then you're like, am I just stupid, or and everyone else is just like a pretty geniuses. So thank you so much for sharing your stories, and yeah, it's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your question. And I think Gabriela said something very important is look for mentors. And you told us that you have a fashion brand. So She Sapiens has actually ambassadors that are kind of mentors to the community. And you have the luck today that we have 2 amazing ambassadors here. Michelle sitting here in the front row. She comes from the fashion world, okay, but she knows very well how to trust her gut feeling and how to enable change. So feel free to talk to her. We also have Sophie here, also in fashion, in sustainable fashion. And if you want to learn more about how, not being too overwhelmed and how to manage everything, Sophie is the right person to talk to. And yeah, are there more questions? This is a question more about the support that you've had through your different experiences, because I relate somehow with you guys, a little bit from everybody, but I feel that even though I am grateful about the way I've been doing things, failing and succeeding both, there's always, like, for example, on my case, my parents, they always help me. Sometimes they don't like the idea, but if I fail, they are there, or things like that. So even though I'm a strong woman and I feel that I can make it there out in the world or traveling and adjusting, I still have support from somebody. Right now, I'm thankful that my parents support me, my brother, and also my closest relationships, either emotional or, let's say, if I'm really having trouble financially, my parents will step up and help me. So that makes me more stronger in the way for whatever I'm doing. So I want to ask you if maybe it was really just yourself, if it was somebody that you didn't know, and then you started helping each other, family member, friendship, etc. Either emotional, financially, like, who do you have that you think of that has helped you through whatever you are doing right now?
It's a very good question, to be grateful to those who are doing it for us, and not to forget to be grateful to these people. And last year I was asked almost the same question in Budapest. Like it was different. Like, oh, you are so like nice, beautiful, successful, like nice person, woman, blah blah blah. And I said, no, 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 wait. It's like it's not me. And I told them it's my parents who I'm the late child. So they were like 35 in 87, and in Ukraine, when you are 35, it's very, very old to have kids during the Soviet Union. So they decided to have me being like older than normal, and I'm late and I'm spoiled, and they poured everything they had, like everything, like English courses, whatever courses, their time, the resources, and I think that yes, and I would say you might agree that when a child is born, it's like 50 genetics and 50 what he is taught. And I think I had both, because that 50 who I should be taught and given like resources, time, money, whatever, etc. I was given all the 50, even 51. So I think it's a lot. It's support me. It's not happening financially now, but just, I want to just make one point. I know there are people that do not accept money from their parents, and on energetical level, it's very wrong, because our parents are here to give us everything. So if you have somebody who wants to give you money or support you or whatever, you should accept it, because you also give a lot of power and energy to the person who is giving it to you. I just wanted to make this message. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, as I mentioned earlier, I'm a Christian, and my faith has sustained me. That's where I get my support. I think I'm really inspired by the life of Jesus, whether one believes he was God or not. But he was somebody who was always sitting with the lonely, talking to the woman he shouldn't be, speaking and having lunch at the houses of sinners. And so his heart was for the marginalized and those on the sidelines. So that's where I get my inspiration from. I want to love like that. And even when I'm broken, even when I fail, because sometimes I do things for the wrong motivation. Sometimes I don't I don't say things well. I'm not kind. I'm not faithful. I'm not loyal. I'm not working with excellence. And even my closest relationships, my husband, my family, my parents, even they fail sometimes. Even they disappoint sometimes. But the one who's carried me for the past 7 years is my faith in God. So that's been my person.
So yeah, family, definitely my parents, but I'm at an age now where I would actually like to give my parents, like I would like to pay them back. They're retiring, although my father's also an entrepreneur and he's doesn't really want to retire at 80. So, and my sisters have been massive support, and emotionally, also in certain moments financially. Also being in women's groups, like, so She Sapiens, I think is really, really amazing what you're doing. I've always looked to, I mean, apart from creating community for women, I am always in masterminds with women. I mean, now we do it internationally, so that we are able to support each other. And what I really see happening, especially now in the online space with these like 7-figure female entrepreneurs, they share everything. Now, this is a very female thing. There's no like, oh, I'm better than you, I'm going to keep this for myself. It's like, I'm going to share everything with you. We rise together. So this is what, in a way, this is quite a new phenomenon. Men have had their men's clubs for hundreds and hundreds of years, whilst the women have been isolated in their homes. I mean, depending on the culture, right? Maybe in Ukraine, Morocco, they sit together too, but they haven't really been in business. So I think being in supportive communities of other women, like this one, changes everything. It really changes everything. And it's this, we do it together. We all win.
I would say the same. Like for me, it's been my community and sharing the ideas with everyone you bump into, because you never know who you talk to that's going to help you in a way. So I think the most, for me, it's been, I talk a lot. Like my brother, he always says like, you close your mouth and there's subtitles. So basically, that's, I think, sharing with everyone, sharing your ideas, your concerns, your everything, and then you don't know who you talk to that's going to give you, like, lighten you up. So share.
I'm not sitting in the panel, but I want to say something because, like, what always has helped me is accepting advice from the people I would not have taken advice from. Because we, as humans, we tend to look for equals, right? That's, for example, why it's also difficult for us as She Sapiens to build a community that is truly diverse, truly international, because we attract each other. It's naturally that we find like-minded, like equal-looking people, okay? So I would really encourage all of you to look for advice from people that you would usually not go for. And this can be different age, different gender, different religion. And this always has helped me. So I think that's really important to add on what you already have shared. Is there another question?
Thank you, ladies. Can you hear me? For sharing. It's so inspiring hearing all your stories. And I think one question that came up for me, Nina, when you said like accept advice from people you wouldn't normally take advice from, how do you then filter that to make an informed decision in business? Not necessarily informed, but also something aligned with your values, with whatever it is you believe in. How do you filter that?
I think what you said is so important, values. You have to know your values. You have to know values are the kind of thing that all values are nice. Generosity is nice, respect is nice, freedom is nice. There's no value you can be like, that's a bad value. All values tend to be nice, but you have to know in the competition of values what is truly important to you, what guides you, what shapes you, what's your driving, and coming back to the why again. Why did you start everything? Why do you have that organization? Why are you trying to build this business? What's the problem that you're trying to solve? And so the advice is all filtered through the why, through the vision, through the purpose, and through the values.
You know, when you get different people giving you advice, it's always good to integrate the information. We all have different ways to make decisions, but sometimes just being really still and sleeping on it is always a good idea, especially if it's a big decision. And again, it goes back to knowing yourself, knowing your values, trusting yourself. Sometimes it's taking a leap of faith and not feeling any shame around how it could turn out, because I think that's the worst. When we do something and it doesn't come out the way we expected, then there's all the shaming, the self-shaming. That's the worst. That like brings down the vibration, when actually it's just feedback. And this is where I see women are, especially, they take it so personally. It's all about me. How we started off the evening, I'm not good enough. Maybe I didn't do this job. Maybe I didn't send out enough emails. Maybe I sent out too many emails. Maybe, and the mind. Men will just go, generally, I'm generalizing, men will often just go, didn't work. Okay, let's try it this way. No drama, right? So I would just know yourself and don't take it personally.
Yeah, just agree with you, not take it personally. And for me, it's basically what resonates with myself. Like there's comments that make me, I always look for my emotion. The emotion I look for, it's peace. Like not extreme happiness, not sadness, not extreme joy, not extreme feeling, but peace. When an advice gives me, when something that someone tells me gives me peace, I feel like, calm. When I feel calm, that's where I want to be. Not where I'm super happy. So I would say whatever resonates with you, that gives you peace.
Yes. Thank you. I am a new business owner, and I kind of have two questions. Is the first one, how do you balance business life with personal life? Because running my business brings me so much joy that I don't even want to shut it off. So I'm wondering, like, how do you balance it and find the joy, like, outside of your business? And my second question is, this is the first time in my life where I'm not dreaming 10 years ahead because I'm living my dream and I'm so happy. Like that peace, like that peaceful happiness. And I'm wondering, like, what happens when you don't have that 10-year dream because you're living that dream? Like, do you build dreams within your dream to accomplish or go after, or is it something else?
I will answer the second question because I have problems with short memory and I remember the second one. But we'll come back to the first. So the second, I would say I'm living my dream life now also. I reevaluated my life for the 2 years and would say I'm happy with where I am and who I am now. But I have a 15 years plan, but not like really plan. But last year I had a talk with my coach and I said, show me, let's talk about where I want to be in 15 years, because that's what I have to do right now. When I will be 50, I have to do something right now, what leads me to where I'm 50, at least how I see it. And we just talked about it. We made some drafts, some plan, and I'm like, okay, with what I'm doing now, it's coherent where I want to be. I definitely don't want to work. I will be a charity, like a, don't know, woman, but I have to work now for these years to be there in time. And it gave me also the peace to some extent. And if you would be so kind to say the first question.
Oh yeah. How do you shut off your
balance.
business mind and balance it with
Very
personal life, or
bad.
just create personal life?
There is a picture. How do you cope with everything? Like balancing all the things in your life. And it's a meme and it's written, I just do it very bad. So I said, I have 3 kids. I have, I don't know how many, 5 projects. Within each project, there is a lot of sub project and etc. But as I was saying at the beginning, I'm making myself to think and putting in my calendar like the dinner with husband, the massage, walk on the beach, whatever, because I put my calls there. I put my work there. But why don't I put my spend time with kids, husband, etc.? So I try to make a new passes in my head and new habits to do a lot of my enjoying the life. So that's I try, and I said Portugal taught me to be better in it, to live the life more than that, just business. Thank you.
Now I just remember the first one and not the second one. I would say, like you said, I struggled for a long time wanting to do it all until I realized I can't do it all. And it's okay not to do it all. Being here tonight means I missed bath time. And I could feel guilty because I missed bath time. But when I'm at bath time, I could feel guilty that I missed the opportunity to be here with you. And so there's this constant trade-off of motherhood, of being a good friend, of being a good daughter, of being a good boss, of being a good, so many hats that we wear. And the reality is we can't do it all. But it comes down to, I think for me, it comes down to my identity. And sometimes when we find that something's a bit too skewed, like it's too much work, where there's just no boundaries, or whatever that is in your life where there's no boundaries, maybe it makes me question of, am I finding my identity in that? And I need to take a few steps back. I know that I did that with the Lisbon Project. I was going at 5 in the morning, anybody could call me, and I was going to pick up people at the hospital because they couldn't speak Portuguese and it was a big mess, or people would call me at any time of the day and my phone was always on, and projects and teams needed me, and I was constantly and not present with my kids. And then just realizing, wait, I think I'm finding my identity in solving problems for people, in being helpful to people. And I had to kind of take a step back of, who am I? I'm not what I do. I am who I am. And so I think that helped me to find a balance. But we fail. We fail. Just that there's seasons in life, and there's seasons where you have more work and less work, and seasons where one day maybe you'll be retired, or where it's such a cycle. So I would say it's just a trial and error with the balance. I missed the second question, but you can answer it well.
Yeah. First, I think I'll stick to the same question for continuity as well. The way I understood the question was also, how do you separate then the work from your personal life? And I think because I know your business, with a lifestyle business like that, it's hard, and there are phases as well. When you're at a starting phase, you obviously invest more time. And then I mean, especially because I'm very much in the online space now, there's a time when you build, and then there's a time when it makes money, and your priorities are more in the marketing, and you can step back a little bit with the actual production. So every business has its phases. And we do know from statistics that taking time off increases productivity. And I noticed that myself. I can spend, because I have like I think we all have a touch of ADHD in our modern world, and I can hyper focus. So I hyper focus, and suddenly it's also very artistic. 2 hours has gone by. And then I'm actually not moving like the tomato method, 20 minutes on and off. It really sometimes can be much more effective to take time off and to take yourself away from your work. And if you have a yoga studio, it's like, well, it's like you're doing yoga. Isn't that relaxing? Not if you're the teacher. I mean, and what was the other one? 15 years from now, or the dreams?
Like I kind of just stopped looking ahead because I'm so happy with what I've been dreaming of for 10 years. It's now a reality.
Maybe do you want to answer that one?
Enjoy, yes. For me, the first, as you said, there's stages of each business. So there's moment if you're just launching and everything, I'm the same. Like I'm working 24/7. I still want to work 24/7, but it feels so good that I just enjoy it. So if you're in that point, you don't need to precisely separate your life at the beginning. Maybe then it'll come the time when you will find the space to do both or balance it out or something. But if you're enjoying it, I think that's what you should be doing. And for the plan, I am very much like that. Like, of course, I have plans, but it's so nice to be present and to enjoy the ride and just be here and not worry about the future. I don't know if it's because I come from a country that has a lot of problems and inequalities, which is Colombia, and I think Colombian people are very happy. And after seeing and living everywhere, I've seen that the reason, I think this is just my theory, that Colombian people are so happy because it's a country with so much problems that they cannot really think of the future because they don't know if they're going to live tomorrow. So they really enjoy today because for them, they might not be a tomorrow for most of the country. So what I think is so nice to disconnect a bit from that future, to be worried about, oh no, but in 10 years, what am I going to be doing? Maybe I might not be doing X, Y, Z. No, enjoy today. If you're living your dream, just enjoy it. Like I think there's no better position than saying that you're living your dream. So enjoy every second. So good.
Yes, of course.
When you were, Claudio, you were speaking about the focus ADHD, I believe, I agree that we have some percent of us. And I just got a recommendation, what I'm doing for myself now, because again, I have kids and projects, blah, blah, blah. Maybe I can work 3, 4, 5 hours per day. So it's like little actually time. And I'm thinking what I want to do this time. And before it was like, I was opening emails and just somebody is calling, I'm just answering, and I just, in 4 hours, I did nothing. I just pleased somebody's calls and emails. And now I'm start with, sometimes it's 1 hour, and sometimes it's even 90 minutes. I'm thinking what I'm going to do today. I'm focused what I'm going to do. I'm writing down. I have my kids on this list. I have massage or whatever on this list. I have like things to do for me on this list. Then I have like those emails who were maybe 1 week before. I'm okay, now I will answer them. and I do maybe 7 or 8 things which are realistic to do, to also to like be sure I will do, not be sad that I missed something, that it's realistic to do today. And then next 3 hours or what is left, I'm trying to really be focused without phone or anything, WhatsApp, and to do it. And that really, maybe you know it, maybe you do it, but for me, it rechanged my life like upside down, and it made me more productive. Thank you.
All right, so we have one more question, and then I would like to, I think Trish, wasn't it you? It was you. Okay, we have one more question, but we are here to celebrate International Women's Day. But I have to say that there is one thing that men, I think, are doing better than women, which is investments. So one thing I was missing in your answers, actually, when you talk about where you see yourself in 15 years, of course, enjoy the ride, be happy, work as much as you can and you want if this makes you happy. But also, if you think about your 15 years, think about your values, but also think about your investments. And one mistake that I did is I was never really thinking about my investments. And investments is not only financially, so what is the money you put aside, what are the assets you build on the side of your business, because sometimes when we're so passionate, we tend to put all our energy and resources in just one thing, and maybe that's not the best in our 15 years plan. But be really aware of where do you invest. And investment can be also in a community, in a good advice, but note yourself down where you have invested. And I think this is really important when you have the long-term vision. Last question. No, but let's change.
Thank you. Super inspiring talks. I'm Maria. I'm coach and internal consultant in the corporate world. I'm very highly inspired by your examples of entrepreneurship, and I have the chance to listen to many women talking about their careers. One thing that I find commonly in many of them is this topic of confidence and imposter syndrome, and that you mentioned before. I actually loved the mentions to energy, to connect with your inner self, your inner authority, to the gut feeling. So it's like, how do we actually occupy this space, and what is your practice? What is your daily practice or weekly practice? How do you spend your time to cultivate this sense of inner authority, and what would be your advice to the ones that may feel not safe or not secure or not confident enough to what they are doing?
It's working, yeah. Who wants to answer?
So I do yoga. Somebody mentioned I have chakras, this bracelet. So I did retreat recently with my friends. But I wanted also to say, I like how you said about investment, and I'm also investing in myself. But I wanted to say it's like I try not to keep myself pure and out of trash, and it means also people who I'm like, community I'm around, what I'm eating. Like, okay, I go to McDonald's, but still 90%. I'm trying to do what I'm doing into myself to be pure, what I say about it, because the gut feeling also, but also they say that there's always one correct answer and one correct thing to do, and you can feel it. And I try to be myself like transparent, pure, to be able to feel. You can, especially if we talked human design, I'm generator, I also know yes or no. And usually they say that projectors have this feeling of body, that your body says what you should do. Should I stand and leave, or should I sit? But as a generator, I also feel it with my body. So I try to keep myself pure, to have this yes or no, to have this intuition. And last thing, I was very hesitative recently, and one of my like spiritual teachers, I was asking her like, what should I do? Should I do this or that? She said like, you have it, you have it. You just cannot hear yourself. So try to take away everything, I remember I went to make makeup, to make myself beautiful, like to do something nice for me, and I heard what I wanted. I just couldn't hear even myself, couldn't be connected with myself. So that's why I say about this being pure and take anything which takes energy just very far from you, because you have it and you don't really need yoga or something else. It's nice. You can just be yourself, but try to hear it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that that's something really important about guarding your heart and what you allow to come into your heart, and even things that you don't realize every day. The show that you're watching, the Instagram that you're scrolling, the environments that you're in, and it's feeding into your mindset. It's feeding into your belief system, and so there's times where I'm off of social media because it's not doing me good. There's times where I can't watch that certain show or I remove myself from certain environments so that I make sure that my heart is being fed with life. It's being fed with things that uplift and remind me of my identity. And I would say also when it comes to confidence, there's so many reasons. That list still exists. All the reasons why I'm not good enough or why I couldn't do, well, maybe it's different things from before, but it still exists. And for me, what puts me into or what gives me confidence is especially because I'm working with social impact and people in very difficult situations. And my love for them has to be bigger than my fear, than my embarrassment of myself, than my own reputation, or what if people think I'm not good enough, or what if I make a complete fool of myself giving a speech. My love for those people is bigger than the risks that I run for my own I guess reputation. So I think that gives me so much confidence every day.
Not quite sure how to answer this, but for some reason I got the hit that I needed to talk about trauma. So I think we are all recovering from trauma from the last 3,000 years, but also relationships as we become more sensitive energetically, and we are entangled and enmeshed in the matrix of all these relationships that surround us. So sometimes you can feel like you're not yourself because you are in relationships that aren't really supportive. So that's goes along the lines of, eat clean, be very mindful of, it's the heart. I feel healing actually opens your heart. You become more sensitive, more open, more compassionate. And a lot of the time we armor our heart because we're in relationships that are hurting us. And the other thing what I personally do is I have a cycle practice of the moon and the sun. I love sunrise and I love sunset. So wherever I am, I connect with nature through, obviously when it rains, it's more difficult, but this morning we had a beautiful sunrise here in Lisbon. And I need to be outside regularly. I need to see the sky. I need to touch plants. I'm kind of at heart shamanic in that I am very connected to nature. And dance is a wonderful way to just move stuff through your body. Yoga, all of these. We have so many modalities these days to really listen and hear ourselves. So the inner voice is different for each of us. And, it does come from stillness.
Just to conclude, but same, I would say find your ritual. Like we all have, there's too many rituals in life. I call them rituals, but you can put another name. For me, my ritual is I do yoga every single day, and this is the moment where I invest in myself, where I find my peace, I can hear myself. This is what worked for me, but for you it could be Pilates or drinking a coffee in a place. Like find your ritual, because when you find your own ritual, you're by yourself, and when you're by yourself and you can hear yourself, there's when you find the confidence and the peace of mind, I guess. So find your ritual.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies, for all your answers tonight, for all the questions that we heard. I would like to give you a big round of applause. truly inspiring. Thank you so much for providing us this advice and for inspiring us. Also, big applause for the men that are here today supporting us on as photographer, as videographer, even as boyfriend. So thank you so much. So we have this space, one more hour where this hour we can use to connect and to learn from each other, because these are the two things that She Sapiens does for the community. We connect people in our events and we provide learning opportunities. We have masterclasses, online masterclasses, where women come together to learn around specific topics. We just finished the first masterclass, and we will restart with another great masterclass about communication and sales. So you find She Sapiens in different countries with different community leaders, with different women. And if you want to be part of us, then you can either just come to our events or you can become a member of us. And what advantages has to be a member is just that you get your own profile, so you can really like stand up for yourself and shout out what you really need and get what you really need. You can get education and access to all the online events that we run, and we're working like very hard for providing you more and more opportunities when it comes to funding, when it comes to different products that exist for starting or already growing up entrepreneurs, different tools that you might not know that we know and that we would like to provide to you. So She Sapiens just a very big community of sisters, and we try to create a safe space for everyone, including men, which brings me to that we're actually looking for a podcast host, a male one, ideally, and many more things. So I know that here was a giveaway. We actually had a giveaway. So Julia, are you around? Coming. Yes, but I remember your name, Gabriela. Yeah, so for some of you, maybe you don't know, but we are not only having International Women's Day, we also have an International Women's Weekend, which means we have 2 more days with a lot of program. And tomorrow we will meet at Amarzem Soul at midday. We will have some yoga movement class with amazing Trish that is sitting here in the first row. We will have a conscious brunch. We will have a workshop about the good girl complex and how you can overcome it. We will have a collective art project. And then on Sunday, we are gonna do some outdoor sports together. We're gonna have a run with Mikaeli, who is also here today. She's actually preparing for the half marathon. So everybody that wants to start running or would like to run a half marathon, feel free to join. We also have some dance class, can I say class? Empowerment dance in the park and a picnic. So a lot of other activities that we're running.
Great. So the last thing, last year we started the membership because we are a project that is led by the heart, but we also need to be sustainable. So we thought the best model was to create a membership that could support us, and that by you supporting us, we can give more back to you as well. So we started giving some free memberships to our first members, and now that we're growing to other cities, we are launching also early adopter memberships in the emerging locations. But for this occasion, we wanted to give 1 year for free of membership, so you can experience what the membership is about. And if you become a member, you're supporting us, so you get a lot of value, but as well, not just receiving back, but also knowing that you're supporting a cause that is like really important to us, and that is creating an impact, not just here in Lisbon, but in other places as well. And so if you, well, you just need to publish a story on your Instagram, as it's clearly saying there, sharing what inspired you the most about tonight. And we will pick the most creative, the one that we like the most at the end of the 3 days, and choose a lucky winner to get to experience the membership.
I was just, I had to, I had to remember a story because it's really true. Like what we do really comes from the heart, and it's really about the impact. And the story that I remember is, you know, we got a co-working office here in Lisbon, and we were so excited. So we're starting printing the name of our company all over and hanging the posters. And then 7 months later, we noticed that we wrote the name of our company wrong on all the banners. So this just shows that like it's really not about the title or about the money. It's really about what we do and the value we want to give to you. So I was just remembering this. So if you want to win a free membership for 1 year, then please make some pictures here with some ladies that you found inspiring with this space, I don't know, and tag us, and then we will announce the winner after the International Women's Weekend. And if you want to come tomorrow on Saturday, or you want to come on Sunday and you don't have a ticket yet, then you can get one, and there are several discount codes. For example, for the Portuguese speakers, we have one called Sem Filtro, because we're having an event for Mulheres Sem Filtro. So Sem Filtro 50, you can use this code, or you can also use the code Goethe 50, because yesterday I was in Goethe Institute hosting an event. So if you still need a ticket and you want a discount code, these 2 discount codes work. And yes, give yourself a round of applause, and then we're gonna bring some food, some more drinks, we make some music. Feel free to stick around. Thank you so much for coming.